Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered Call-In Show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest Scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy.
Boom. Hey. How y'all doing today? Hopefully you've had an amazing week so far, right? Um, if you don't know me, now my name is Devon Morris. I am this is the Unfiltered Show where we talk about agile, scrum, entrepreneurship, all those great things, personal development, all those little topics that actually help us grow and become better at what we do in terms of this scrum, agile, entrepreneurship thing. So hopefully you've been doing great, but today's topic is going to be interesting. And I thought it was important to talk about, and it will be rebuilding your confidence after a job setback. This is one that is near and dear to my heart. We all experience disappointment at some point. And it's just one of those things where it's just a topic that we really need to kind of approach and deal with. Now, if you've never been to this show before, the way this kind of works is really very simple. We talk about a topic for, maybe 20, 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how much I talk, right? We start about 5 minutes after, go up to about 8:30. Sometimes I go past. And then we open the show for any questions that you have. If you have questions, hey man, we continue the show, keep going. But you may not have no questions tonight, then we'll shut it down, right? I'm really here mostly to answer your questions, right? Now, the way the show really truly works, the beauty of this show is that people come in the show and really sit down or at least come and join me, you know, in the lab, right? When they join me in the lab, they actually come on live and we actually have a conversation. The beauty of this show is in those conversations, right? However, if you are an introvert, unlike me, I'm an introvert, but I'm an introvert with all extroverted facets. If you're like me, you'll jump out there and ask your questions, right? Or you may decide to ask questions in the future, and you are welcome to ask your questions within the comments by dropping us a message in the comments, and then we go from there. So, really, nothing really crazy about what we do here. In terms of what's going on with me this week, meetings, training, classes are starting to wrap up last 2 weeks. I'm getting into that, so I'm doing not a bit of writing. So I had to do a few assignments today. Got to do a few tomorrow. Got to do a few every day this week. I got another family reunion to attend in a couple of weeks, so I gotta be prepared for that and a big assignment. So it's gonna be heavy school for me. But I'm doing a class this weekend, so it's just like, okay, that's going to be an interesting thing. I haven't done a class on the weekend in a long time. Just the pandemic just kind of crushed. Well, I guess it didn't really crush classes in the weekend. It just seemed like people were able to make time. At least our customers were able to make time during the weekday, and they would come during the weekday. So classes like in the past would be a lot heavier for us weekend, and then weekday became a lot bigger for us once the pandemic haven't hit and hasn't really shifted at this point in time. But other than that, probably the most exciting thing for me, if I'll be honest with you, some of you all may understand this, but I'm happy that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Doom, Dr. Doom. If you look back here, it's hard to see, but I got Doom's first appearance back there, right? So that's exciting for me. May not be exciting for some of you all. You may not understand what we're talking about, but he's the biggest Fantastic Four villain and one of my favorite villains of all time. So I love Dr. Doom. Other than that, we're gonna jump in this topic, man. Um, And this should be interesting. I got some real high level notes here. One of the things that I've been doing, so you all understand, is I've decided to start pairing up what we talk about on the show with an article. And you're going to see what we talk about on the show just kind of in more detail. Well, I won't say in more detail because I can always give you more detail on the show. But you're going to see a good amount of detail in terms of the article itself. So I'll drop the article in the comments section on LinkedIn and on YouTube, so you all have it. All right, so let's get ourselves going here. Nothing really crazy, nothing spectacular here. We're just going to talk about this simple topic, and that is rebuilding your confidence after a job setback. One of the things is, and the biggest thought process for me is why you even talk about this topic. Um, there's something about when you get a little bit of disappointment, sometimes a lot of disappointment, it can really just set you back to a place where before you even began. And it just has this tremendous impact where it could even stop us from going after something that we really truly want. And it's one of those things that you need to learn how to deal with. If you don't learn how to deal with it, you will end up in a situation where you're not achieving the things you really truly want to achieve. And a lot of times the setbacks are, relative. Compared to other things that happen in your life, they're probably not as big as many, many other things that happen. But I wanted to talk about this because I think we all can lean on each other when we have these kind of moments and come back and look at information like this to determine how we're going to shift and move forward. When it comes to being set back from something that we really want to truly deal with, or at least have as a part of our lives. Now, in terms of this, the first thing I want to really say to you is you're going to have to do yourself a bigger favor, right? You're going to have to take a moment, a real true moment, and you're going to have to reflect and reframe. It's super important to reflect and reframe. Now, probably the biggest part of that is captured in one simple sentence for me, and that is literally let your wounds heal before really revisiting that setback. You know, the best way I can put it to you is this. You know, it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be frustrated, upset. Um, it's a normal feeling. It's just a normal feeling. Um, you may even feel like you don't really have control over your emotions, over the actions around you that are happening, and you have no control over those things that are occurring at that particular point in time. And if you don't, it's okay, it happens, right? It's going to happen to you many, many times in your life. And for most of you all here, you've had a long enough life to where it has happened. Um, and you've gotten to the other side of it in one way or another. Um, and for me, I'm real big on learning from the experience. That's probably the biggest thing that you can say. If you look at me, I look at everything as a learning opportunity. So realistically, I know the first thing that I have to do is allow myself to heal a tad bit. That's the first thing on the list of to-dos for me. Um, I have to allow that to happen. There's no question, right? But as that's happening for me, I'm trying to figure out what lesson do I learn from it? What can I walk away from this thing with? And me walking away with something is what I want to do. I want to walk away with something that is more valuable to me now that I've had the experience, right? Um, it could mean that there's something I got to fix, man. And it's better for me to fix that thing than continue to go after something and have the same problem again and again and again, like I really haven't learned anything. Um, and so I'm trying to find a lesson in it more than anything else. But I'm gonna let myself heal. I gotta let that moment in time. I gotta go through the grieving process, right? That grieving process is actually going to help me tremendously. It's going to help me to be able to rebound and rebound stronger if I decide to continue to pursue that, or when I decide to pursue something else, right? Um, but I want to know what I have to tweak, what I got to make better, what I got to do for this outcome to be different next time. Does that make sense? A lot of you all here have been through this before. What are some of the things that you do as a part of healing? Would be my question, right? What are some of the things that you do before you start revisiting the setback? Because at some point you have to revisit the setback. And for me, revisiting the setback is about answering some questions to help me find closure. Um, that's gonna that's gonna settle my confidence, if not boost it to some degree. Because I'm gonna find something great about me, right? I'm gonna find some accolade, something good that happened that's gonna make me feel a little bit better. If I have to, I'm gonna talk to family, colleagues, if I can. You may have a career coach, you may have a mentor, right? You may have those kind of things. And if you do, I take advantage of those things, right? I take advantage of those things immediately. So and then I can be better off sooner versus later, if that makes sense. I want to be in a position where I take this and be able to use this to catapult to someplace else. Okay. And that's what I want to do more than anything else. And so really it's really deal with the wound and then revisit the setback so I can learn from it. That's probably where I'm gonna be at starting off, right? As I reflect and reframe. But then comes the next big thing. As I feel like I'm coming out of it, I really want to rebuild my confidence. And you should be thinking about rebuilding your confidence in this, right? Okay? Rebuilding your confidence is absolutely important, and there are two things that you really do here, right? The real first one here is to really truly take a moment to celebrate your strengths. Celebrate your strengths. There's some there's a reason why you was in a position that you were in. There is a reason. Now, I don't know what that reason is for you, but I know for me, usually if I lost something, there was a reason I was in that position. And I want to celebrate that thing. I want that thing to be a part of what helps me to come out of this thing. You know, I haven't done this all the time, but if it's really bad, I will talk. I will write down my achievements. I'll write them down. I'll write down some strengths that I have. I'll write down something that's going to give me the accolade so then I can look at something that happened in the past and be able to use that to help me go, man, you way better than what you thought you was. They just don't know what they lost out on. You know what? They missed out on getting me at a cheap price. I'm gonna find something. Does that make sense? So for me, it's going to turn into that trying to find a way to rebuild myself. Okay. If you have a problem doing that, get around some people that can help you rebuild yourself. Get around some people that can help you with your confidence, right? You know, if you have a friend that is super positive, that finds something good in everything, I'll be having conversations with them because they're gonna find something good in what happened to me. Talk to them. Talk to them, right? Don't go at this thing by yourself if you don't have to, right? Go play with your pet, play with your children. Find something where you may not be good in that thing, but find something that's gonna help you see your strengths. Okay. Then the next thing I want you to do is really set some new goals. Start thinking about your goals. Start revisiting your goals. Now, revisiting your goals is really, really important because you want to set smart goals, right? But you may need to redefine what those goals look like for you, right? For me, what I'm really good at doing, and probably one of my biggest tricks, is I tend to find smaller goals. I tend to make things smaller. Um, Smaller things for me to accomplish in quicker periods of time so I can have the faster boost of adrenaline. That dopamine that I'm looking for, right? That's going to help me to turn a corner, right? Um, so setting those new goals is important, and adjusting is important because again, it could be something that's going on with you, but it may not be nothing that's going on with you at all. But set some new goals. Make sure that they're accomplished, that they're smart, smaller. It's going to help you. So I'm starting to move in this direction now. If you're here, I want you to go ahead and type in the chat that you're here, right? So I can give you a shout out a little bit later when we actually start going through and doing that part of the show. So rebuilding your confidence is extremely important. The next thing on my list is to enhance your skills. Okay. For me, I don't know about, most people, but I'm on a constant learning journey, right? You know, there's a Bearded Eagle alumni who actually has a non-for-profit where she has a goal of teaching 500,000 African girls by 2030, right? And I'm doing a class this week for her, and it's the first time I'm able to connect with a, a bunch of people from the continent of Africa, right? And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And somebody asked me in a class, what is something that you do as a scrum master? What's something you gotta do? And the only thing that I could think of was learning, making myself better. And I don't know how, at least in this industry, because it's almost like it's professional development on steroids. How can you not work toward making yourself better? Does that make sense? Um, I'm gonna say invest in professional development and make sure you seek feedback. Um, you know, it's one of those things where, when I was at State Farm and I had my first opportunity to really do that first project, Scrum project at State Farm, we started this stuff, right? But the first thing that I did is I went and paid for my class. I think it was almost $1,400 back in '05, right? It was by Ken Schwaber. I went and paid for my class. I immediately went to go do it because it was important for me. It was important for me to really do that so I had a clue of what I was doing. Okay. And I would say to you, I have a few certifications, and most of them have some continuing education things that you have to do. But every year, well, I used to read a book a month. I don't read a book a month anymore because I'm in a PhD class and I read way more than a book a month at this point, right? It's kind of ridiculous at this point. But I read a lot. I read a lot. I'm in getting a lot of information from various places. But that's all about me getting better. That's all about professional development. And I want you to recognize that because that is really super important to me. The other thing that I do is establish feedback loops. The feedback loops are just as critical because I'm not perfect, man. I'm not perfect at anything that I do. And just a little bit of constructive feedback from a colleague, a mentor, a supervisor, someone that you love can help you improve and grow. I remember talking to someone that had a trainer that trained them, and they realized that the trainer never accepted any feedback, never did any retrospectives, right? I've been doing a CSM since 2005, and there are still things I want to improve in it. There's still ways that I want to make myself better in terms of the certified Scrum Master, in terms of everything that I do. You know, when I'm miscommunicating with you in a way and the word is not quite right, for me, that's an opportunity of improvement. And I want to find a way to get better at that. You understand where I'm coming from? I really do want to find a way to get better. And so for me, it's a very normal thing to forever be on this knowledge seeking journey. It's like I got a lamp of knowledge and I am one of the initiates trying to get as much knowledge as possible. But I'm on this forever journey of learning because I've mastered certain things. And in being a master, it's not like things don't change. It's the masters who don't update their skills that become slow moving dinosaurs. And I never want to be that person, if that makes sense, right? I never want to be that person. So it becomes absolutely critical for me to make sure that I am developing myself and getting feedback along the way so I can use both of those things to chisel, chisel myself, right? To improve myself. Step by step, piece by piece, right? So for me, that's a big deal, right? It is so big. And maybe one day I'll just do a show about this, right? I used Scrum to improve myself in the beginning of my career, right? In the first 2 to 3 years. I literally use Scrum to improve myself. And it may be something I need to talk about on a show because some people just don't get how to do this in their lives, right? And maybe what I can do is kind of show you at least what I've done, some examples of the different things that I've done in terms of using this in my life personally on me and on family and in every place that I exist. Does that make sense? So, let me know if you're interested in that, right? But we don't stop there. We got a couple more things to talk about here, right? Make sure you network and connect with people. This is probably one of my weakest points, right? I always find mentors. There's no question about that. The thing about me is I have an affinity for older people. I just do. I love older people, right? I was raised by my grandmother. I say my grandmothers, right, to some degree. They both had a heavy influence on me, right? And so there's something about being around older people that is so comforting for me. Um, Stories, the whatever it is, but I always tend to find a mentor in that, right? I really do, right? Um, and they're normally really concerned about me, right? I think I just found another mentor recently, right? I went on a cruise and, you know, some things exchanged. I was helping someone out and, he gained an affinity for me. And I think that's a good thing. And I gained an affinity for him. So I think I found me another mentor in a particular arena. And I'm going to be reaching out to him and helping him in different ways. And I think this weekend I found another one. So I think I found two mentors in the span of a week, like legitimately, like 2 weeks, I would say. Um, and they're going to help me in different ways. But they're not, they don't have anything to do with Scrum and Agile. They don't, right? I admire them for other dreams that I have myself or where I want to see myself go. Um, the other thing I'm going to say to you is make sure you expand your network. One of the things that I recently, okay, so the pandemic did something to me, and it wasn't that it did anything too bad to me. Between the pandemic and seeing people pretty much die in my family, I've just kind of gone into that shell of I need to step back, take care of family things. Yeah, I've done this show, but I haven't done much outside of the show, right? I haven't been out in the community as much as I used to be out in the community. And me stepping out, doing this Africa Agility thing, me going back to the Scrum Alliance for a conference. I was scheduled for the Agile Alliance conference, but I was too wild. I had to cancel because I had some client stuff to do. I'm taking small steps to get back in. So, and then when I complete the PhD, I can jump in full heartedly, right? I'm writing more articles at this point. Um, and the articles, you'll see them over time, right? Some of you all, if you're not a part of my mailing list, you probably don't get the newsletter I send out every single week. Every week I send out a newsletter. There's 3 articles in that newsletter. This, let's see, this week, I think we sent a rebuilding article out. Next week, we're going to talk about agile leadership. That'll probably go out in that one. Um, so I'm working toward building that network or rebuilding that network in various ways, right? So this year, I'm going out. I'm going to work with SMAD, the Scrum Masters of African Diaspora, and I'll be the keynote speaker there. Um, this is me making an attempt to get back to putting my feet on the ground. You understand where I'm coming from? I need to reground myself and reestablish my network because I know what I mean to at least the agile world. And I need to get back out there so you all can see us, in some kind of way. And so it's really, really important to kind of make those connections. And I need to redo it because I just wasn't doing it, right? And a lot of it was because of the pandemic, a lot of it because of family, right? But I'm putting an extra oomph on it, right? So I can make sure that I do it and people, see me, and have some good things that we do together and shake some hands and kiss some babies and stuff like that, right? So I need to do that, right? And I will be doing more of it. I promise you, right? I really promise you that I will be doing that. So just know, even I need to get better at it, right? So I'm not saying these things just for you. Sometimes when I write an article, I'm writing an article admonishing myself. I'm writing an article to make sure that I remind myself about certain things. When I go do the research, when I go those things help me, right? And so you all are helping me become better as I think about what can I give to this community. Does that make sense? I see some people out here making some comments, right? Yeah, Karen, yes. Karen's the one that reached out to me. Karen is over here on LinkedIn. I know you all don't see her over here. I can't put your comment over here. Um, Let's see. That's the show that I would like. Let me just copy this for a second and see if I can get it over there, right? So this is from Karen. I'm gonna throw this over here. Um, she's over on LinkedIn, so I'm just adding this to the comments on YouTube so you all can see it, and I'll display it. You know, that's kind of the show that Karen wants to see, right? This is the show I would like to hear about how you use Scrum to change your life, right? Yeah, I will do that. So I'll make that a priority, and it may be a good thing to do as kids start going back to school, right? Um, hey, Andrea from Nassau. So yes, um, and Karen is the one who actually reached out to me about SMAD, the Scrum Masters of African Diaspora, right? So African descent, African, I'm gonna get it right. African descent, right? So those things are important, but again, I think I get at least one more thing here, and that one more thing is I think it's one more after this is to take care of yourself, right? Take care of yourself, right? Um, I mean, Shane just asked if everything's good. Good, yeah, everything's good, Shane. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I don't have any issues or whatever. I'm just really introspective at this point. I'm getting to the place where you have lost. You understand, and you kind of get to the place where you realize you're coming out of that place. And I've become way more productive. I'm knocking a lot of things out the park. I see myself coming back, but I know that the biggest reason why I see myself coming back is because I had to take care of myself. And some of that was for me to maintain a healthy work-life balance, at least through that period, and stay positive and be really patient. One of the things that I've been since the pandemic is really patient. um, I kind of put myself in a situation where taking this PhD forced me to calm down because if I want to get A's in class, I have to prioritize the PhD as the top priority. That means that family and other things come after that. Which means my biggest focal point, which I had to get all family to agree, was that. But that forced me to be patient and that forced me to stay positive because even when I don't want to do something and I accomplish just a little something, it boosts me, right? And then I got back to riding my bicycle. Um, I was hitting the gym. So, I was making sure I was fasting. This month of July, or just everything went in the hole. But August is coming, and I'm starting a new sprint in August in terms of my workout routine. So I'm getting back on track, and this week I'm slowly starting to get myself back there. So nothing's wrong, but what am I doing? I'm really taking care of myself, y'all. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I'm taking care of myself. Um, and it's necessary for me, right? It's necessary to take for me to take a moment to just be okay. And I don't know what be okay means for you. But for me, I carry a lot on my shoulders, right? And some of you all do too, right? You have family, some of you all get kids, and you carry a lot of weight every day. And sometimes it's just nice to smell the roses. And so for me, I just kind of take care of myself. Because I know when I don't, then I hit places that many of us go to, like imposter syndrome. Okay. I'll have that hit me, right? And no, I don't want that. I really don't. So I just make sure you take a moment to take care of yourself is my point, right? We're getting to our time, so I want to make sure that we deal with the last couple things I want to explain here. Um, for me, I take small risk. I avoid isolation. Um, Even if I'm by myself, I connect with people on video chat in some kind of way. And to be honest with you, my family is my closest people, right? So it's really focused in on them. And then I take a moment to just remember what I've accomplished. You know, I look at my kids and I look at, you know, like this literally, I don't put these comic books out here to show them to y'all. I put them out here as an accomplishment for me. This is a success. This right here is a success for me. These are things that I did when I was a kid. And to have things that I never thought I can get when I was a kid and to have them now, it means something, right? So I put these things here for me more than anybody else, right? It's not the brag or anything like that. And so I'm just telling you to be nice to yourself. Just be nice to yourself. You understand? Because if there's nobody else, you got you. Um, so be nice to yourself. You feel me? So I think that was the last one, but here's the deal. If you want to read more about this, then all these points is in an article. This is the article. Again, you can pause this when you decide to and grab that article. I dropped it in the chat for us so that we can be good to go. But, which is there two or three of these six items that you think of most important? If I was to say to you, the most important one for me, at least two, was to reflect and reframe and to take care of myself. Those are the most important two for me. Number one and number five was the most important ones for me, right? You may be different. I'm curious. What do you think? What is the most important one of these things for you that we talked about? I want you to throw that in the comments for us. And then we'll kind of go from there. But let me tell you as you throw it in the comments what our next week is going to be about. This is a topic that I think is going to be interesting, right? Agile leadership, embracing emerging trends to maximize return on investment. I'm not going to talk in details about ROI, but I'm going to talk about those trends that can get you there. And talk about agile leadership, which means we're talking about a breadth of people here. So that is going to be our topic for next week for sure. Other than that, we're going to wrap it up we're not going to wrap up the show, but we're going to wrap up the topic. So here's my question for you. If you have any questions about anything, this is the time to ask them. Drop your question in the comments or you're welcome to join the show live, right? I'm going to turn on the interview link for anybody who decides that they want to come join the show. Throw that out there for us. And I'll throw it also over here. Okay. And then we'll go from there. Um, Okay, all right. So let me take a look at everybody here. So I'm gonna take a look at comments here. Say give shout outs. First and foremost, I'm gonna start over here on LinkedIn. Karen, how you doing? Karen is the one that reached out to me about SMAD, right? So that's a great thing. So hey, Karen. Hey, Andrea from Nassau, Bahamas. You know what? I just took a cruise in Nassau. The cruise that I took stopped in Nassau. If I'd have known you there, I would have knocked on your door. I ain't had nothing to do while I was there. So yeah. So then let's see. Yeah, I will if I need to. If I was running for presidency, I would kiss babies. Just so you know. I have no problem kissing babies. If you are silly enough to allow a grown man to kiss your baby, then actually I probably won't kiss babies. I think there's something wrong with that, right? Karen said number four, number five was important. Number five, we agree on number five. The networking thing is important. And then, can we invite you to our Smash Slack channel for a podcast? We do a Yeah, yes, Karen, yes. You can invite me to the your podcast. So I don't do a lot of podcasts, but yes, invite me to the podcast and I'll come join one of those weeks. So you let me know what the schedule is and I'll make some time for it, okay? So I will definitely do that, Karen. Okay. All right, so let me come over here on YouTube and let's see. D, how you doing, D? No, I normally see D. What's up, Rajiv? How you doing? CT, how's it going, brother? Shane, been around for a long time. What's up, Shane? How's it going? So I'm gonna open the floor now and see if you all have any questions about anything. It's summertime. A lot of people ain't around on summertime. So we're getting toward August. College students and regular students start going back to school. So all these things become a little bit important. Okay. So what questions you all have? Drop them in the comments or you may decide to join me. But for sure, I will join the SMAD podcast. That will work out good for you, for me, for everybody. And I would love it. I would have no problem with it. Other any questions? You all look quiet. How you been doing? You been all right? Hopefully you've been all right. Hopefully you got good things happening. You know what? Andrea asked this question right here, and I'm gonna throw it over here. I'm gonna drop it in the comments on YouTube, and then that allows me to be able to show it. But this question is from Andrea. How do you handle imposter syndrome? Man, Andrea, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. You know one of the things that's crazy. Every time I do a training, I'm still nervous. Every time, every time, every time. You know, it's always oh, I can drop the guest link over there. I'll just drop it in the comments over there on LinkedIn. It'll be in the comments. So let me drop it over there. That's the guest link. So, and I'll drop it on YouTube again. But that imposter syndrome is toughy, man. I'm gonna write an article about it. Um, yeah, I'm gonna write an article about it because it's one of those things that I'm able to get through it because of my past, probably more than anything else. Is I look at the successes that I've had in the past and I look at the fact that I've provided people value, and that actually helps me to position myself to start class. And then I'll tell you a big thing I do. I listen to a lot of music right before. Right now, I'm on a Phil Collins kick. But I just throw some music in, especially music that has a bounce to it or was important to me in some event, and that'll get me, that'll put me in a place. And probably the biggest thing that I do is I recall the 5-year old, the 8-year old, the 13-year old, the 18-year old, the 25-year old, just different numbers over the years. And I recognize that they would be proud of me, every single one of them. would be proud of the person that I am today, and they would aspire to be the person that I am today. Um, and so that gives me some solace, if that makes sense. Um, I'm just throwing that off the top of my head. I'm gonna write an article about it. I really am. So I'm gonna put that on my list of articles to write something about, because there is a way that I deal with it, and I'm able to get through it relatively quickly at this point. So that is just a good thing. It's an amazing thing, right? So I passed the link off on LinkedIn and on YouTube in case you want to join the show live. You don't have to join the show live. So what other questions do you all have? Any other questions? I have happiness now. Yeah, it's been good. I'll tell you this much. I have not never had an experience where I've had so many, almost 50 black women on a dang on class. It is a whole thing, man. Like it's a whole thing, right? Um, so I am very proud of some of the work that I'm doing today. It's making me feel good. Um, let's see. Let's see. Here's what. Yeah, yeah. Truthfully, I'm gonna be honest with you. And again, I'm copying these things and bringing them over to YouTube. And this is going to be from Karen. Um, yeah. No matter how many times you step out of it, I don't. Well, best way I can say it is never left me. I don't know who it hasn't. Maybe Tony Robbins would be the only person I think of who. But I'd imagine if Tony Robbins was to have a real conversation with me, he would say it too. Yeah, I don't know anybody who would say that they over it. So if you're successful at all, I think that it hits you at some point in some kind of way, and most people are able to get through it and go from there. Um, Another question from Andrea. Getting all my questions from LinkedIn today. You guys over here aren't talking to me in terms of YouTube, so talk to me. Talk to me. Anyway, um, and I'll show this for everybody. And this is from Andrea Pratt Smith. Um, how do you feel about self advocacy? I'm bad at it. I'm really bad at it. I'm good with it, but I'm bad at it. I don't, a good example is this, right? You all know this. Think about this show here. How many times do I tell you to subscribe? I'm not good at it, man. I've never been good, right? Yeah, I've never been good at it, right? But what I am good at is serving people as a form of self advocacy that allows me to serve them and they want to get more from me. I'm good at that though, but I'm not good at bragging about myself. Okay. So my form of self advocacy actually comes through service. And I feel like with the way I feel, even the way that I run business, which means that I could make way more money than what I do, um, is I rather tell a client, you don't need a training. So recently I had a client that asked me, they wanted a training, and I probably can give them training and give them coaching, and they would pay me for both. But I actually said to them they didn't need training. The training would actually pay me more money. Do you understand the statement? It would pay me more money. But I've never run the business that way. I've always run the business in a way where it's just like, I don't want to take all your money. I want to give you what you need, let you go out and explore, and then you come back and get some more when you're ready. Other consultancies are like, let me get in your pocket and let me never get out. I just never been that way. I don't like to conduct business in that manner. And it's worked out well for me, but I could be super rich if I would do something, or if I would approach it differently. But I just don't feel. I feel like I'm backing up to pick up my check, and I don't want to do that. So it just is what it is, and we'll take it. We'll self advocacy. I'm not good at. Should be something I should write about so I can do a better job at it. But it just is what it is, right? Yeah, you know. I can't show on this system LinkedIn comments and YouTube comments. I only can show YouTube comments. So I just copy them from one place and bring them over to the other, right? Yeah. So it just, so, I mean, there's always, little confidence bouts we always have. Um, since we're definitely talking about that today, there's always little setbacks that we have. I have them. There's no question. I have them. I had an opportunity where somebody told me to go talk to a salesperson, and I never think of myself as a good salesperson. I never did it. I never did it, and that was a confidence thing, right? Which again, I can do better at that, and I didn't, admittedly so. So it just makes it interesting, way more interesting than I ever wanted to be. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So yeah. So anyway, any other questions, y'all? Any other questions? You don't have any other questions, I would, you know, shut us down for the week and look forward to agile leadership next week. But yeah, confidence is a big thing, man. I can't stress it anymore. We all go through having confidence issues from time to time. Again, I don't know anybody who doesn't go through it. I really don't. Um, I'm just happy to be where I'm at and be able to, you know, kind of keep moving. Um, and since I don't see any more questions coming through, let me show you this again. Next week, we're going to be talking about agile leadership, embracing emerging trends to maximize ROI. I will pair it up with an article and make sure you all receive that article as well. And then we'll go from there. But other than that, I'm going to say this has been amazing. It's here for the universe to utilize it. If you have any thoughts, any comments, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I'll make sure I answer them on the show. But other than that, I'm going to say to you all, this has been a pleasure. Um, and I got one more thing. Karen saying, what about confidence? Can that be a bad thing for you? I think confidence can be a bad thing for you when it turns into unproven arrogance. Um, but I've never thought of confidence as being bad for me because I'm humble. I'm really humbled, and I've always been humble. And since I'm humble, I think it's okay. Now, there are some people that assume I have a certain level of confidence that I'm not expressing, and they get different types of reactions from that. But other than that, confidence has been amazing for me because it's paired up with being humble. All right, y'all. We're gonna shut it down. So look, make sure you like and subscribe. That's what I'm supposed to say. That's what I should have been said, right? And other than that, you all make sure that you have an amazing week. This has been amazing. Karen, send me a note about the podcast so that I can help out on that. And other than that, this has been a pleasure. You all have an amazing week, and I will see you sometime soon. Thank you so much, y'all. Peace. Have a good one.